Welcome to the webinar. Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Guys, please check it. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Please confirm to me. Yeah, good morning, guys. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Right. All right. Good morning, guys. And check it what we completed in the last session there. I think so. We started just a core Java. We started there in a core Java also. What we started there, introduction part we started. In introduction topic, in introduction yearly, 5 topics are existed. Inside these 5 topics, just a Java history we started and we completed. So the story about this Java history is just for the sake of your knowledge only I have given that. It is not important in application development, and it is not much important in interviews. Nobody will ask questions on this. Just for the sake of your awareness only I given. Okay. But anyway, again, I want to ask a few questions from this topic as we understood already. What are the what are the questions there? Java is a programming language that was prepared by or that was introduced by which company initially? Sun Microsystems. Sun Microsystems has introduced the Java programming language. Right, sir. When the first version of the Java was introduced to the market, 1996, January 23rd. That is a date and time. Date and a date for the respective Java programming language. Okay, fine. Next one is, after that, Sun Microsystems gathered 25 members team led by James Gosling and Patrick Nathan. They started a project. The name of the project is what? Green Project. The name of the project is what? Green Project. That's okay, fine. Then after that, after completion of this total part here, Green Project and everything, Initially, they want to see 3 features on their new programming language. What are the 3 features they want to see on the new programming language there? Simple.
Simple programming language is what? Less execution time, less memory consumption, less power consumption. Less execution time will improve the performance of the application or not? Lesser memory consumption will reduce the cost of the application or not? And lesser power consumption will reduce the maintenance cost of the product or not? I think the many of you are given what to do. Don't worry, I will take this session as a practice class. Only one session will be completed, Java is very, and this part I will give us a review for it. Don't worry for it. We will use the class and we will handle this session. Next one is type coded. Type coded means that what do you mean by type coded? Less number of instructions and more results. Less number of code and more results. That is given type coded. Examples type coded. Architectural neutral. What is the meaning of architectural neutral? What is the meaning of architectural neutral? They should do graphics applications. They should do applications. And all the hardware systems, and all the hardware systems, that's the meaning of architectural neutral. Architectural neutral does not fall there. Single program I want to write, but the program has to be executed under all the hardware systems and all the operating systems. Our program should not come with any particular hardware mission, particular operating system. It must be available to all the hardware missions and all the software, that is operating systems. That is the meaning of architectural neutral. We use a complicated. Okay, fine. The first program in Java is a failure. Java is not actually, but the name is Java. But the name Java is coming. Something is coming there. Basically, the copy with the copy. That is Java is the copy that was available in the same area as the time of implementing Java programming language. In the particular name only, the name of programming language is what? Java. Learn to search for the information for JVPA. There is a copy programming. That was quickly speaking. There is a placement in Indonesia. Then after completion of this, after product the Java is the class and the technology is provide. Next one is at 1995, end of 1995, one browser was prepared by someone in the systems of the of Java. The browser name is what? Hard Java browser. That is getting very good. Dividing out and people talking about Java programming language. And then Sunlight Processor decided to leave Java programming language to the market. After the sensor related 1996 January 29, officially the first version of the Java they have released. Then after that, into 1 year and 1.5 years, they released another new version. What are the basic versions of Java? JDK 1.0 language itself was introduced. JDK 1.2 when JDK was introduced. Actually, was JDK 1.5 version. Like applications is one of the enhancements like the after completion of 1.8 was the next major version. 1.9 the next major version is 1.8. After 1.8, every 6 months I can calculate practically Java versions. 1.9, 1.10 every 6 months, every 6 months of he was not released. By the time people are not using much of the Java programming language because they are thinking much of like 1.8, 1.9. You understand also 1.8, 1.9, and 1.10 are going on. Not 1.8, less than 1.9 so a lot. But the current version of the Java is on 1.8. That is Java 8 was showing the network. 8 was showing the network. So we are going to discuss after 18 version of the Java 11 classes. By the end of the 19 must be coming. Java 19 must be Java and definitely discuss about Java 19 version also. But as of now, after 18 version is coming. But by the end of the course, if 19 version is available, I will discuss about the 19 version also in our classes. So, right, now, let's move on to the next topic. What is this next topic actually? Differences between between Java and others. Java and others. You will talk about you have to understand. Right. About that point. About that point. Whenever you do this particular job, you know, there's a reason for it. Why are you doing this job? There's a reason. What is the reason here? Guys, all of you observe carefully. The reason would be guys, please control to me.
Now, is my voice is clear now? All of you are getting my voice on screen now? Is it clear? Okay. Is it clear now? Now it's clear. Nice. Okay. Let me continue. Right, sir. Okay, no problem. Nothing has. All right, sir. Just I have given previous class topic only. Just now I'm going to start our content. All of you observe clearly. So now today we have to start with differences between Java and others. The topic here we are providing. Try to understand it. Why I'm taking this particular topic now. In general, whenever we are preparing for any interview, we may prepare resume. Inside our resume, we are planning to, we are going to specify technologies, number of technologies we are going to specify, like where C, C++, Core Java, Advanced Java, Hibernate, Spring, Web Services, .NET, Python, Django, and so on. Whatever the technologies names you know, every name in general used to specify. You are not thinking whether you are understood or not, whether you have knowledge on these technologies or not. You are not thinking about it. Simply you are going to specify that. When you specify like this technology set, when you give your resume to that interviewer will check your technologies. When he identified C, C++, Java, and so on, directly there is a chance for interviewer. To ask one question. What is that question there? Already we have C and C++. Then what is the requirement to go for Java? Already you have C and C++. Then what is the requirement to go for Java? Tell me the differences between C, C++, and Java. Tell me the differences between C, C++, and Java. So we are able to get this type of questions from interviewer. So where at least we have to open our mouth, at least we have to give some information to that interviewer. Right. For that, I prepared this particular topic. This is one reason why I have taken this topic as a first topic for us. Next reason, one more reason. Try to understand it. Some of you are thinking, if you want to learn Java programming language, first we have to learn C++. If you want to learn C++, no, first we have to learn C programming language. They are thinking a chain of technologies in the sequence. First we have to come for C. Next one is a C++. Then what next one you know? Core Java. People are thinking in this way. But here itself, I am telling to all of you guys, to learn Core Java, no need to have any prerequisite. Not to know anything about C programming language. Damn sure I am telling to you. Core Java is an entry-level programming language. In which way we are going to start C programming language? In the same way, we are going to start Java, Core Java programming language. Core Java is a fundamental programming language. It is a foundation. Core Java is a foundation. Don't think again a foundation for another foundation. No. Core Java itself is a entry-level programming language. Don't go for any prerequisite for this Core Java. Still, if you ask me what is the prerequisite for Core Java, I can say one thing, only the knowledge on computers. Just if you know what is CPU and what is keyboard and what is mouse, how to start your computer, how to start your laptop, that's sufficient to learn Core Java. I think so all of you might be aware about it. Any of you are aware about, any of you are available here without knowing anything about computers? Without seeing computer first time? All of you are seeing that computers or not? Everybody aware about, at least mobile phone, you know, right? How to start mobile phone or how to switch off mobile phone, you know. That's sufficient to learn core Java. No need to go for any other courses. I will take the responsibility. Okay, fine, leave it. Because of these many reasons, I want to say one point clearly. To learn core Java, don't go for any chain process. C and C++ are not at all prerequisite. Directly you can start core Java. Even though if you came from biology background and geology background and mathematics background and physics background, everybody will start core Java here. Okay, now because of this reason only I'm starting this particular programming language now, particular content here now. Right, so now inside this nearly 9 differences I planned. I'm going to provide that each and every difference is important concept for us. At each and every difference I'm going to show Java is great when compared with the C and C++. Java is very good when compared with the C and C++. Java is quite different from C and C++. I will give this point at each and every difference here. Now let us see that points clear. Right, so the very first point here, what I'm telling to you, the very first difference is what I'm telling to you. C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is a dynamic programming language. Java is a dynamic programming language. Guys, all of you, please read out the statement what I am telling to you. What exactly the first difference here we are trying to understand. C and C++ are what? Please read out. C and C++ are what? Static programming languages, but Java is what? Dynamic programming language. Okay, fine. Before understanding C and C++ are static, Java is a dynamic. Before understanding this particular point, first we have to understand when a programming language is a static programming language and when a programming language is a dynamic programming language. First we want to understand this point. After that we will think C and C++ are static or not, Java is a dynamic or not. But first we have to understand when a programming language is static programming language and when a programming language is dynamic programming language. All of you ready? All of you ready? Fine. Listen, I will give one simple statement. Try to follow this. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the data at a compilation time, then that programming language is static programming language. That is my point. What's the point I said to you? If any programming language allows memory allocation for the data, for the primitive data more clearly, at a compilation time, then that programming language is called as static programming language. Similarly, if any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data at a runtime, not at compilation time, at a runtime, then that programming language is called as dynamic programming language. Come again. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data at a runtime, not at compilation time, then that programming language is a dynamic programming language. All of you are comfortable with these definitions, no? Tell me, what is static programming language? Tell me. Come on, speak out. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data at what time? Compilation time. Then that programming language is what? Static programming language. Then what is dynamic programming language? If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data at what time? At a runtime. At a runtime, then that programming language is what? Their dynamic programming language. Observe carefully. So here, sir, definitions are okay. You said just we repeat it, but I'm not getting what is a static, what is compilation time, what is primitive data, what is runtime. So all these points are somewhat confusion for me. Okay, don't worry. Let me explain some points to you. Then after that, we will discuss about the same statements. Okay, right. Now let us understand this clearly. Simple convention, simple points I'm asking there. Try to understand these programs. Try to understand these points now. You can understand easily. Guys, all of you observe carefully. I have written a C program. I have written a C program. C program in the sense, C program in the sense, file name dot C extension or not. For example, if you want to write a C program, file name dot C. If you want to write C++ program, file name dot CPP. If you want to write Java program, file name dot Java. If you want to write Python program, file name dot py, py. Got it or not? Okay, fine, nice. So C program I have written. Inside the C program, I'm able to write some instructions or not? Some coding part here we are able to write or not? Okay, now tell me, sir, who is writing this program there? Who is writing? Developer or any person? Developer is writing. Programmer has written this program or not? Okay. Developer has written this program in which language? C language only. But that C language in which language? No, high level representation. In a high level language only, that C program was written by developer. Developer can understand only high level language. Developer cannot understand low level language. Sir, any example for high level language? No. Yes. Int I is equal to 10. No. Int I is equal to 10. No. That instruction is understandable to the developer or not? Int, integer representation. I is a variable, equal operator, where 10 constant value, semicolon to terminate the statement. Everything is known by developer or not? Okay, that is nothing but high level program. Okay, right. All of you guys understand this clearly. When we have written the C program, whenever we have written the C program, now we need to execute the C program or not? We have to execute the C program or not? For what purpose we have written the C program there? To execute that program in order to get some outputs. For the sake of getting some outputs only, we are going to execute our program. So here we have to go for like what there? Execution. Here we have to understand. What we have to understand there now? Execution. Okay. Who will execute the C programs now? Who will execute the C programs now? A separate engine is available to execute our C program. That engine is called as what they know? C engine. A separate engine is available to execute our C program. That engine is called as what there? C engine. To execute C program, C engine is required. To execute C++ programs, a C++ engine is required. Similarly, to execute Java programs, Java engine is required. To execute Java programs, what is required there? Java engine. The Java engine is called as JVM. The Java engine is called as what? JVM. Java Virtual Machine. To execute Python programs, Python engine is required. To execute Python programs, Python engine is required. In Python, Python engine is called as PVM. PVM. Python Virtual Machine. Okay, definitely to execute any program, definitely some engines are required. Similarly, in the case of C, no, C engine is required. Okay, now observe carefully. What's going to be happen when we write our C program, and when we need to give that C program to the C engine, when I give that program to the C engine has to execute that program. C engine has to execute that program, and the C engine has to provide some output from that particular program. C engine has to execute that program. C engine has to provide some output by executing that program. This is a scenario here we have to understand. Guys, all of you are getting my points now? Now, observe carefully. When we provide the C program to the C engine has to execute our program, then it has to give some output or not. But C engine will not execute our program now, immediately. C engine will not execute our program immediately. Why it is not executing our program immediately? I will give one example. Try to understand it. I said to you clearly, this C program was written by developer. Developer understandable language he able to use to prepare this program. The developer understandable language is a high level language. In high level language, we can write the instructions in this way. Int I is equal to 10. Int is an integer data type. I is a variable. Equal is an operator. 10 is a constant. Semicolon is a terminator. That everything known by developer. In that way, only developer is able to write the program. Okay, developer in his understandable language, he wrote the program. But who is going to execute this program now? Who is going to execute this program here? C engine has to execute this program or not? What is this C engine? Is that C engine is any human being? It's a mission or not? The C engine is a mission or not? It's a mission. How this mission can understand our language? No. How that C engine is able to understand our high level language? No. No. C engine is able to understand. C engine is able to understand the program in a low level language. C engine is able to understand the program in what there? Low level language. Sir, what is this low level language, sir? I want to know that. Nothing, sir. Low level language is a combination of zeros and ones only. Mission code, zeros and ones only. Low level code, mission code, native code, whatever it may be. All these things are like what? They're low level representations only. So C engine is able to understand low level representations, but we write our program in what there? High level representation. High level representation is in I is equal to 10. Low level representation is what there? Zeros and ones combination. Tell me, is it possible for a developer to write the program in low level language? Are you doing the same thing? No, we are unable to write the program in low level. Okay, we are able to write the program in a high level only. But what about this mission perspective? Is it possible for the mission to understand high level representations? Int I is equal to 10, that mission is unable to understand. But mission can understand the program in which language? No, low level language only. Mission can understand program in low level. Mission cannot understand program in high level. But here what we have done there? We have given high level program to the C engine. We are asking to the C engine, try to execute it, try to give some output. But what C engine is saying, no, you are giving high level program to me. I'm unable to understand this high level. I can't execute this program. Please provide the program in low level. So communication gap is coming or not? Language, data representation point, that incompatibility is getting or not? So because of this reason, our program will not be executed. But if you want to execute this program, two options are available. If you want to execute this program, only two options are available. Option number one, either we have to write our program in low level language directly. Anyway, that is not possible. We are unable to understand that mission language. We can understand only high level language. Okay, option one is not worked out. Option two, what is this option two? I'm telling to you, option two is very clear. If you are not able to write program in a low level, if you are able to write program in high level, try to translate that program from high level to low level. Try to translate that program from high level to low level and give that low level program to the mission. Mission can execute this program. Either we have to write program in low level. If it is not possible, try to translate the program from high level to low level. Then give that low level program to what their execution. C engine can execute our program. Right, sir. Now the second option is possible. Then what we have to do there in the case of the second action now? In the case of the second option, what we have to do there? Then try to translate our program from high level to low level. Now here we have to do this translation. Here we have to go for translation. Try to translate this program from high level to low level. Okay. Now here we want to get that low level program in the form of some file. That file, in the case of C programming language, that file might be .obj file or maybe .exe file. I don't require .obj. Finally, I require .exe only. So we want to get the program in what there? .exe file, where I want to see the total program in the form of like what there? Low level representation. In the form of low level representation, we have to prepare the program. Then whatever the program which we generated, in low level, try to give that low level program to the C engine. Now C engine can understand this program or not? Now C engine can understand this program or not? Now observe carefully. Now this .exe file contains which program they know? Program in no low level language. Okay, the low level language program, if you give to the C engine can execute it, and C engine is able to provide some output. Now here we are using one translation or not? What exactly the translation here we performed? Just we translate our program from high level representation to low level representation. The process of translating our program from high level representation to low level representation is called as compilation. That process is called as what? Compilation. Right, sir? One main responsibility of the compilation is what? Converting our program from high level language to low level language. That is the requirement of what? Their compilation. Guys, whenever I'm asking questions, unprompt we have to give response now. If you're not giving response, I may think you are not understanding, and again I will repeat the same point. So time waste process. Whenever I'm asking questions now, give immediately the response. By that I can check all of you are giving response or not, so that I will move to the next topic. Now tell me, all of you now tell me, what is the main purpose of the compilation now? To convert the program from high level representation to low level representation. Very nice. Okay. I'm asking one question to all of you guys. Now try to answer for it. Who is writing this C program? Developer is writing the program. Developers are human beings or not? Basically, we are not gods, right? We are human beings. Am I right or not? What is the fundamental right for a human being? What is the fundamental right for a human being? Committing the mistakes or not? Doing mistakes or not? Having mistakes is the fundamental right for a human being. Am I right or not? Definitely, if I write a program, we can check 100 number of errors, 100 number of violations we can check. Am I right or not? Okay. Having mistakes in our program is not the issue. But without correcting that mistake, trying to execute the program is a problem. We are committing some mistakes there. But without checking our program, whether our programs are having errors or not, without checking our program, trying to execute that program is a blunder mistake. So what we have to do there? Before executing our program, first we have to check whether our program contains any mistakes or not. Whether our program contains any error or not. That we have to cross check or not. Right. That cross checking our mistakes, checking our errors in our program, responsibility will be provided to this compilation process again. Now compilation is having two responsibilities. Compilation is having two responsibilities. What are the two responsibilities? Now first one is what? Translating our program from high level representation to low level representation. And second responsibility is what? Error checking. What is the second point here? No, error checking is the second responsibility of the compilation. All of you are clear about my point or not? Now let's understand these points here. The time, listen carefully, I'm giving one conclusion. The time when we compile our program, is called as compilation time. The time when we compile our program is called as compilation time. Is also be called as a static time. Is also be called as a static time. I think our point is somewhat related with this particular static, right? Static programming languages. The time when we compile our program is called as compilation time. Is also be called as what there? Static time. Similarly, the time when we execute our program is called as execution time. Is also be called as runtime. Is also be called as a dynamic time or a dynamic, simply dynamic, static and dynamic. Tell me, sir, then what is compilation time? The time when we compile our program is called as compilation time or static time. The time when we execute our program, that is called as execution time or a runtime or a dynamic time. Okay, this is one point I'm telling to you clearly. Guys, all of you observe carefully. Okay, keep this information in our mind. Static time and compilation time or execution time or runtime, keep this information in our mind. Now I'm telling to you, int I is equal to 10, guys. Here 10 is a data or not? I is a variable or not? Int is a data type or not? Of course, that is primitive data. That is primitive data type. Int is what their data type. Observe carefully. All of you observe carefully. To store 10 value in I variable, internally memory must be required. To store 10 value in I variable, internally memory must be required. So here some memory block will be created. How much is a memory required? How much is a memory is required to store 10 value for I variable? How much memory is required? Here I variable is existed where in the memory 10 value will be stored. How much memory is required to store this 10 value? How much memory is required? That is depending on the data type. How much memory is required? That is totally depending on the data type and depending on programming language. Depending on data type and depending on programming language. If it is Java programming language, integers will take 4 bytes of memory. In a Java programming language, integers will take 4 bytes of memory. If it is a C programming language, integers will take 2 bytes of memory. All of you are getting my point or not? So depending on programming language and depending on data type, no, memory will be allocated for the primitive data. So memory allocation is required for the primitive data or not? Memory allocation is required for the data or not? Come on, guys. Yeah, I'm waiting for a response. Memory allocation is required for the data or not? That is depending on data types or not? All right, sir. 2 types of data types are available in any programming language. First one is a primitive data type. Second one is user-defined data types. First one is a primitive data types and second one is what? User-defined data types. What are these primitive data types now? What are these primitive data types now? Understand clearly. Int, long, float, double, character, boolean. In general, these are primitive data types in all programming languages. But in Java, 2 more data types are available extra. They are byte, short. In Java overall, 8 number of primitive data types are available. In Java overall, 8 number of primitive data types are available. What are these 8 number of primitive data types? No, byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, character. Come again. How many data types are available? How many primitive data types are available? 8. What are these 8 now? Byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, character. 8 number of primitive data types are available. For all these primitive data types, memory allocation is required or not? For all these primitive data types, memory must be allocated or not? Now understand my conclusion here. My conclusion is very clear. Now try to understand my conclusion now. If any programming language allocates memory for the primitive data types at a compilation time, if any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data types at a compilation time, that programming language is called as static programming language. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data types at a runtime, at execution time, at a dynamic time, that programming language is called as what there? Dynamic programming language. Now all of you are getting clarity about static programming language and dynamic programming language or not? If memory allocation is going on at compilation time in any programming language, that programming language is called a static programming language. If the memory allocation is going on at runtime in any programming language, then that programming language is a dynamic programming language. Now here I'm telling to you, C and C++ are static programming languages, whereas Java is a dynamic programming language. In C and C++, memory will be allocated for the primitive data at a compilation time only. But in the case of Java, memory will be allocated for the data at a runtime. So C and C++ are static programming languages. Java is what their dynamic programming language. Yes, sir. All of you get my point or not? So let me write one statement on this about this particular point here. One or two statements I want to write now. Right. Meanwhile, if you want to take the notes, we can take these points here now. But let me write that information here. Better guys, every day try to bring a notebook and pen. I may give some conclusions. At least you have to take that conclusion. Of course, I will share this total documentation to you. Don't worry. PDF file is available, total material. Hard copy we are able to get for offline students. And this classroom notes also I will share to you. Don't worry for it. Now let me write that information here. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data at a compilation time, then that programming language is called as static programming language. Okay, that programming language is called as what? Static programming language. Examples are C and C++. Now the point is what? In C and C++ applications, memory will be allocated for the primitive data. Memory will be allocated for the primitive data at a compilation time only. That's okay. Now this is exactly C and C++. Then I have to talk about Java. All right, sir. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data, at runtime, then that programming language is called as dynamic programming language. All right, sir. Example here I'm telling to you Java, Python, different things. Java, Python, different things. We can understand clearly. All right, sir. Now here, how Java is a dynamic programming language. In case of Java, memory will be allocated for primitive data types at a runtime, not at compilation time. In case of Java, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types at a runtime, not at compilation time. So because of that reason, Java is what there? A dynamic programming language. Right, sir? Then can I go for next difference? No, first difference we completed. So now onwards, whenever I'm asking the question, what exactly the meaning of static programming language, what is the meaning of dynamic programming language, without having delay, immediately you have to give answer for my question. Everybody must ready to give answer for this question. Whenever I'm talking static programming language, dynamic programming language, immediately you have to give answer for my questions. By the way, you're not aware about it. Topic by topic, I'm going to conduct a written test. Topic by topic, I'm going to conduct a written test. In the written test, definitely I'm going to ask the questions on these models. Multiple choice questions only. Just simply I will ask, find the valid statement from the following list. Then I will give a list of statements there where we have to identify the right statements now. If you know these concepts, then only we can put the tick marks over the right answers. That is one thing. You are not aware one more thing. I am planning to take mock interviews also for everybody. Mock interviews also I am ready to take. First, I will take mock interviews for Fullstack Java. Next, complete Java. Next, basic Java. Next, remaining members. I will take. Everybody is accountable here, and everybody has to participate all these events. These written tests and mock interviews and everything we are going to conduct for the sake of your career only, not for the sake of time pass. Seriously, everybody must participate in that. So because of that is what I'm telling there, and every day on which topic I completed the content here, you have to prepare yourself the topic. Just what I'm asking there, what I'm expecting from all of you, no need to study, no need to do any hard work. No need to do any hard work. Just I'm asking to you, what I'm expecting from all of you guys, whatever the concepts I'm telling inside the class, just try to repeat yourself. If every point is covered in our explanation, then that's good. You are at good side. If any point is missing in your explanation there, then try to recollect it. What point is missing and what we have to improve. That's it. Every day you should prepare for yourself. Understand my point? But as per my responsibility, I'm going to touch each and every person max. But everybody has to prepare yourself. Right? The same thing is applicable for online students also. Not only for offline. For online students, We are going to conduct written tests, and as well as we are going to conduct mock interviews also. Right, sir. That's okay, fine. Now, first difference is completed there. Then the second difference here, what I'm telling to all of you guys, try to observe this clearly. The second difference here, this is very, very important. Everybody must understand this one. Preprocessor is required in C and C++. But preprocessor is not required in Java. The second difference is very, very important. Here we are able to have one important interview question. Definitely at the end of this particular point, I will give that interview question also. So everybody must understand this. What is this point here? Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Before understanding preprocessor is required or not required in C, C++, and Java, before all these things, first we have to understand what is preprocessor, what is the job of the preprocessor, where this preprocessor is existed in our programming languages. That the complete information we have to understand first. After that, we are going to decide whether preprocessor is required or not required in C, C++, and Java. All of you ready for it? All of you ready for it? Okay, fine. Guys, I'm giving some alert message to all of you. Some people are sleeping inside my class. Please wake up. It shows clearly how much hard work you have done at yesterday's night with your WhatsApp chatting. Keep aside. You have taken first step at Durga Soft. So forget about that WhatsApp chatting and night outs now. Sleep well. Learn very well. Understand what I am telling you. Sleep well at your nights. Then learn perfectly in our classes. Don't have sleepless nights. Think about it. If you have a sleepless night one day in this time, remaining career is a sleepless. If you sleep well at your nights now, you will understand betterly inside our classes. Remaining life is also be sleepful. So the decision is yours, and that everything is in our hands only. Please wake up. Wake up. Otherwise, what I will do, I will come to your chair, I will stand in front of you, I will ask 10 questions on Java. If you answer for it, then it's okay. You can sleep inside my classes now. Don't sleep. Please concentrate on our content here. Content is gold, important. You have to understand. Every point you have to understand. For the sake of you all, I am talking. Right, sir. Now let's understand this point here clearly. What is the topic here? Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Right, sir. Now let's observe this clearly. What exactly the meaning of preprocessor and where it is existed. Let me give a diagram, guys. All of you know. Let me give a diagram. Guys, I'm giving one more point to all of you. Every class is being recorded, and every class recordings will be provided to everybody. For everybody, every class recordings will be provided. Okay, let's understand it. All right, so now I want to take a C program. When I want to say C program, then obviously its extension should be what? .c. Its extension should be what? .c. All right, sir. Then after that, what next one here? After that, whenever we prepare C program, then we have to compile that C program or not? Then we have to compile our C program or not? Guys, now tell me, what are the requirements why we are performing compilation now? Tell me, I don't like this type of lagging. For what purpose we are compiling our program? Two reasons why we are compiling our program. To translate our program from high level to low level. And second one is what? Error checking. Please remember this. Remember, to translate our program from high level to low level, we need compilation. And for error checking purpose also, we need compilation. Fix that in our mind. Right, sir. Then when we compile our program, here we are able to get one type of file. What is the type of file here? We are able to get .exe file here. We are able to get or not? .exe file. .exe file here we are able to get. Whenever we are getting .exe file, then we need to execute our program or not? Then we have to go for execution. There we have to go for like what there? Execution. Executing our program is also be required. Execution. When we execute our program, then what we are able to get there? There we are able to get some outputs or not? Definitely here we are able to get some outputs. Okay, here we are able to get some output. Now try to observe carefully. Output we are getting. Compilation, .exe file, execution, output. Clear? Up to now we understood. Now I want to say something about compilation. Inside this compilation, don't expect only one machine is doing that entire process. Don't expect only one machine is doing that entire compilation. Strictly speaking, 4 missions are working together to complete compilation. Nearly 4 missions are working together to complete this compilation. What are these 4 missions which are working together to complete compilation? First one is preprocessor. Guys, what is this first one? Preprocessor. Finish. Our required part is completed. Then I can give the information. Preprocessor is the first phase of the compilation. Preprocessor is existed inside the compilation. But let me complete the remaining diagram also there. Why you hurry for it? Now after this preprocessor, the next mission would be compiler. The next mission would be like what they know? Compiler. Then after this compiler, what next one here we have to understand? They know next one would be assembler. Next one would be like what they know? Assembler. Compiler. Then what next one can know? Assembler. All right, sir. After completion of this assembler, another one is also be required. What about this another one here? Linker, loader, link editor. Loader, link editor. Loader, link editor. Loader, link editor. These are the 4 missions available inside the compilation process. Okay. Anyway, we have discussion here. I want to talk something internals about compiler. Guys, now tell me, inside the compilation, how many missions are available? 4 missions. What are these 4 missions now? Preprocessor, compiler, assembler, loader, link editor. Nice, very nice. Now observe this clearly. In a compiler, inside the compiler, again, 6 number of phases are available. 6 missions are working. Inside the compiler, 6 number of missions are available or 6 phases are available. What are the 6 phases inside the compiler? Let me give a list of them. First one is lexical analysis. First one is what? Lexical analysis. Next one is syntax analysis. Next one is semantic analysis. Next one is intermediate code generation. Then after that, code generation. Then after that, code optimization. The next one is like what? They're not code generation, code optimization. Then after this, code generation. That's it, guys. Now these are the various missions are available inside the compiler. First one is like what? The lexical analysis, syntax analysis, semantic analysis, intermediate code generation. Next one is what? Their code optimization. Last one is like what? Their code generation. All these phases are working together to complete compiler activities. So actually not required to discuss about all these things. Why? Because in the future, I may require some functionalities about lexical analysis phase. That's why here itself I'm giving the total structure. Here itself I'm giving the total structure just because of that lexical analysis phase, not because of that what they know, any other requirement here. At present not required, but I'm giving the total structure. But here my required part is what? Preprocessor. Here my required part is what? There? Preprocessor. From this, what I am expecting there, where is the location of the preprocessor that I am expecting? My requirement is fulfilled here. The location of the preprocessor is where? Inside the compilation or not? My location of the preprocessor is inside the compilation or not? That's it. Now this is the location of the preprocessor. Everybody is clear about my point here, no? Okay, right. After understanding the location of the preprocessor, next, what is the purpose of the preprocessor? What is its work? What preprocessor will do in our programming now? Right. Let's observe this point clearly. All of you know. Now here, I want to give clarity on these points here. Try to observe carefully. Later on, I'll give document also, but try to understand this, no? In C and C++, guys, observe carefully. In C and C++, the total complete predefined library, in every programming language, predefined libraries existed. In every programming language, predefined libraries existed. Similarly, in the C and C++, the complete library, the total library, predefined library is provided in the form of header files. The complete predefined library is provided in the form of what? Header files. Examples for these header files are like what there? Now tell me stdio.h. I think you're aware about this information, right? Next one is like what there? conio.h. Next one is a math.h. Math.h. Observe carefully. So like what there? And so on and so on and so on. So many header files are available. So in C and C++, the complete predefined library is existed in the form of header files. Examples for these header files are what? stdio.h, conio.h, and math.h. Okay, header files are okay, but I want to use that predefined library in my C program. I want to use this predefined library in my C program. If you want to use this predefined library in a C program, first we have to include these header files to my C program. First we have to include these header files into our C program. Am I right or not? Right. To include these header files into our C program, we have to use hash include statements. Which statements here we have to include there? No, hash include statements. To use these header files into our C program, or to use predefined library into our C program, we have to include these header files into our C program. To include these header files into C program, we have to use hash include statements. What statements here we have to use there? Hash include statement. It means that hash include stdio.h. Then what next one? Then after that, hash include conio.h. Then after that, hash include math.h. All of you are getting clarity up to now? Only 2 points are given. First one is the location of the preprocessor given. What is the location of the preprocessor there? In a compilation, that very first phase. Leave it. What is the job of the preprocessor? That is a question. Under that, I am talking all these points. In C and C++, the complete predefined libraries existed in the form of header files. Examples for these header files are what? stdio.h, conio.h, and math.h. Okay, fine. If we want to use predefined library in C and C++ programs, we have to include these header files into our C and C++ programs. To include these header files into C and C++ applications, we have to use what there? Hash include statements. Hash include stdio.h, hash include conio.h, and hash include math.h. Okay, listen carefully. I prepared a program. I have prepared a C program. Inside that C program, I have written all these hash include statements. In my C program, I have used all these hash include statements as it is. Then after that, I'm trying to compile my program. When I compile my C program, compiling C program in the sense, inside the compilation process, no, preprocessor will perform its actions as the first one or not? Directly preprocessor has to perform its actions or not? When I compile my C program, first preprocessor will come to my C program. Preprocessor will recognize all these hash include statements. What are the hash include statements here we have written? C program, that means the preprocessor will recognize all these hash include statements. Preprocessor will take all the header files names. What are the header files names we specified along with our hash include statements? Preprocessor will take all these header files names. Preprocessor will go to C software that we already installed in our computer. Preprocessor will go to C software. Inside the C software, preprocessor will go to the predefined library area. Inside this predefined library, preprocessor will check whether these header files are existed or not existed. When I compile my program, preprocessor will recognize all the hash include statements. Preprocessor will collect the list of header files. Preprocessor will go to predefined library inside the C software. Preprocessor will check whether these hash include, that means these header files are exist or not existed inside the C software. If these header files are not existed, their error will be raised. These header files are not existed inside the C software, errors will be raised. If these header files are existed inside the C software, if these header files are existed inside the C software, where preprocessor will take all the header files what we specified, preprocessor will load all the header files content to the memory. Preprocessor will load all the header files content to the memory. Tell me, at what time this preprocessor is doing this total work? At what time preprocessor is doing this total work? Come on, guys, I'm asking to you, at what time preprocessor is doing this total work? At a compilation or at a runtime? This total thing is going on at compilation time or not? That means all the header files are loaded to the memory by preprocessor at a compilation time or not? The total predefined library loaded by preprocessor at compilation time or not? This type of loading predefined library at compilation time is called as a static loading. Previously static allocation. Now this time static loading. Loading of predefined library at a compilation time is called as what now? Static loading. Now tell me, preprocessor is performing static loading or not? C and C++ are supporting static loading or not? Got my point or not? So this is the job of the preprocessor. Now I'm asking one question there. What is the requirement of the preprocessor in the C and C++ applications? Only because of one point. What is that point, can know? The main intention of preprocessor in C and C++ is to recognize hash include statements in order to load the specified header files content to the memory. Come again, what is the main purpose of the preprocessor? To recognize all hash include statements in order to load specified header files content to the memory. For this particular purpose only, we are using preprocessor. Now tell me, you only tell me, preprocessor is required or not required in C++? Come on, guys, preprocessor is required or not required? Required. Preprocessor is damn sure required. Preprocessor is damn sure required in the case of what now? C and C++. So one conclusion we are getting clearly. Preprocessor is required in C and C++. That point we understood. But what is the second statement? No. Preprocessor is not required in Java. Then our proof is what? Why preprocessor is not required in Java? That we have to understand. Yes, sir, all of you are getting it or not? See how some people are attending this class today now. Initially, they are looking seriously on my face now. Whenever I'm reducing my voice there, gradually their eyes are closed and they are moving left side. Their heads are moving left side. Then how many problems you are having in this stage now? At the age of 22, you are having a number of responsibilities. You are thinking all these responsibilities. Finally, you are sleeping inside the classes now. You forgot this responsibility. This is main responsibility. But all responsibilities you are thinking, but you forgot this responsibility. Understand it what I am telling you? So don't sleep. Don't sleep inside the classes. No, classes are very, very important for us. So important classes I am telling there. Don't sleep inside the classes now. Right? All of you ready? All of you ready to understand the second point here? Whether you understand preprocessor is required in C and C++, I will not care about it. I am not C++ trainer here. I am Java trainer. My required part is what? Preprocessor is not required.